Right, let's be real. Hotel California might just be one of the most recognizable songs in all of music history. And you probably know all the words and sing along to it every time you hear it.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
But let me ask you a question. Do you actually know what the hell the song is about? For me, as an ex-radio DJ here in the UK, this song was great. At 6 minutes 30 seconds, it was a great opportunity to go to the toilet. It'll always hold a really special place in my heart for that reason. So let's go through the full story of the song. It's a fascinating one, so buckle in. And if you love music history like me, make sure to subscribe and join our pack. With the Eagles having entered the realm of superstardom, expectations were high in 1976 when the band went about recording their 5th album. And the title track of Hotel California came from quite an unusual place. Guitarist Don Felder, who had only joined the band around 2 years prior, tells the story of one of the most recognizable riffs in rock and roll history. I had just leased this house out on the beach at Malibu. I guess it was around 74 or 75. I remember sitting in the living room with all the doors wide open on a spectacular July day. I had this acoustic 12-string and I started tinkling around with it. And those Hotel California chords just kind of oozed out. Felder recorded the basic track with a Rhythm Ace drum machine and then added a 12-string guitar on a 4-track recording deck in his spare bedroom, then mixed in the bass line and vocals. He then made 2 additional copies, one for Glenn Frey and one for Don Henley, who had basically asserted themselves as leaders of the group at this point, and nothing would get recorded without their approval. Felder's demo featured influences from Latin and reggae music, and Henley was intrigued. He said it sounded like Mexican reggae, or bolero. He also gave the song its first working title, Mexican Reggae. Now, Henley and Frey had been working out a theme for the album, and Henley in particular had a great idea of what this song could be. Henley and Frey went to work on the lyrics and managed not to only craft the song into a powerful overture for the theme of the album, they also slid in a verse about Henley's breakup with his girlfriend, Lori Rodkin. Her mind is Tiffany twisted, she got the Mercedes-Benz, she got a lot of pretty boys that she calls friends, as well as a gentle diss of Steely Dan, who had the same management as the Eagles. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Now, Frey had the great idea to make this song cinematic, in a way, going from one scene to the other, following this protagonist all the way through. As Gold Radio puts it, a lone man seeking sanctuary after a long journey on the highway only to find a weird world populated by freaky characters, and soon becoming quickly spooked by the claustrophobic feeling of being caught in a disturbing web from which he may never escape. Now, when it came to recording songs, Don Henley and Glenn Frey were pretty meticulous. For example, Don Felder had the idea of just improvising his guitar solo for the end of the song, but Henley and Frey had other ideas. According to Felder, Joe and I started jamming, and Don said, No, stop, that's not right. I said, what do you mean it's not right? And he said, you've got to play it just like the demo. Only problem was, I did that demo a year earlier. I couldn't even remember what was on it. So we had to call my housekeeper in Malibu, who took the cassette, put it in a ghetto blaster and played it with the phone held up to the blaster. We recorded it, and I had to sit in Miami and play exactly what was on the demo. Now, if you can believe, the finished song consisted of the best parts of 32 different takes, all spliced together onto one 2-inch master. Among other things, they sped up Felder's original arrangement and dropped the key down to better accommodate Henley's range. Now, this album took around 7 months to record and mix, but when it was finished, the final product was, well, it was incredible. It was released on December 8th, 1976, and to date it sold 44 million copies worldwide. And of course, Hotel California was a #1 hit single. The funny thing is, Hotel California almost wasn't released as a single. At more than 6 minutes long, the label thought it wouldn't be good for radio play. Little did they know that radio hosts would love the song because it meant they could go to the toilet. But Henley stood firm. He refused to edit it down for the radio or choose a different song. Now, let's talk about those lyrics. The song starts by putting us on a dark desert highway with cool wind in our hair. And that opening line was inspired by a car trip that the band had taken, and when returning to LA, they could see the glow of the city in the horizon. As you're driving in Los Angeles at night, you can see the glow of the energy and the lights of Hollywood and Los Angeles for 100 miles out in the desert. And on the horizon as you're driving in, all these images start coming into your mind of the propaganda and advertisement you've experienced about California. In other words, the movie stars, the stars on Hollywood Boulevard, the beaches, bikinis, palm trees, all those images that you see and that people think of when they think of California start running through your mind. You're anticipating that. That's all you know of California. As the song progresses, we learn our traveler is fighting sleep and needs to find somewhere to stop for the night. This is where we begin to see Frey's cinematic vision kick into high gear. He pulls over, hears a mission bell, and sees a woman with a candle. And he's already beginning to sense that something isn't right. This could be heaven or this could be hell. He follows her down the dimly lit hallway and our traveler begins to hear voices. This takes us into the chorus for the first time. The second verse starts with a reference to Henley's Tiffany Twisted ex-girlfriend. After that, he orders some wine, but has been informed that we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. Now, forget for a moment that wine isn't technically a spirit. This lyric is alluding to the idea that the music industry has become more corporate, with less room for creativity and experimentation. 1969 is in reference to Woodstock 1969, a symbol many, myself not included, believe to be the pinnacle of rock and roll. The spirit the captain speaks of is the spirit of rock. In the last verse, we learn we are all just prisoners here of our own device. And before we get to one of the best guitar sections in any song of all time, we get to that lyric that still haunts us to this day. That's when the Nightman tells us to relax, and we can check out at any time we like, but we can never leave. Well, that's a bit sinister, isn't it? So now that we're all creeped out with those lyrics, what does the song actually mean? Because this has been a debate for years, with some people getting pretty close and a lot of other people way off the mark. In the 1980s, the Reverend Paul Risley of Cornerstone Church in Wisconsin claimed that Hotel California referred to a San Francisco hotel, bought by Anton LaVey, and converted into his Church of Satan. Other claims suggested that the Hotel California was the Camarillo State Mental Hospital, while others thought it was about heroin addiction or even cannibalism. But, as often is the case, the real meaning is much more boring. I know, it's so boring. It's a song about the dark underbelly of the American dream, and about excess in America, which was something we knew about. In 2013, he added, it's a song about a journey from innocence to experience. And in fact, every song on Hotel California is about the dark side of the music industry, and the dark side of Los Angeles in particular. Once you arrive in LA and you have your first couple of hits, you become the new kid in town. And then with greater success, you live life in the fast lane. And you start wondering if all that time you've spent in the bars was just wasted time, he revealed, nodding to the Eagles' song titles. So all of these other song ideas kind of came out of that concept once the foundation was laid for Hotel California. It was a really insightful title. And yes, the hotel is a real place that's pictured on the album cover. In real life, it's the Beverly Hills Hotel. And it's used both as a metaphor for LA and an actual place where the power players get together for lunch and discuss multi-million-dollar deals. Hotel California is generally considered to be the pinnacle of their time as a band. The album sits comfortably in the top 10 best-selling albums of all time, with around 44 million copies sold. So now you understand the meaning behind Hotel California, but do you know the meaning behind Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA? Because it turns out millions of Americans didn't quite get it. You can click over here for the full story on that song.